Hi, I'm Milton Chang of Bonsai Heirloom. This is May 7th, beautiful sunny day in California. Today I'm going to recreate a mini version of this tree. It doesn't look much today, but I bet you, given that it's smaller, in 10 years it'll look magnificent. You'll be happy to show it, be proud to show it as a show tree. So that's the process of bonsai. It's not instant, but over time that improves beauty, the concept of an heirloom over time. Now these two trees, looks like they came out of the mountain. They're not. They in fact are planted in the ground and make it close to the tree. In fact, in the beginning, I actually used nail to hold them in place. And then pretty soon they grow into the rock in the sense that it fused with the rock so that it's quite sturdy as part of the rock, whereas this one is not. So anyway, I will begin by saying I found a piece of rock that I think is pretty interesting in shape, and I orient it a little bit so that it has some feature, more of a three-dimensional depth. I think I'll do it this way. So I will have some room for this little tree in 1 gallon pot. And for those of you who have seen my video early on, I actually have a mosquito screen lining the bottom for root pruning. These are actually 1-year-old cuttings, divisions or cuttings. You can find, I grew myself, it's called a Catlin elm, which is a particularly nice variety for bonsai because the leaves are glossy, just like these Catlin elms. The leaves are glossy and fairly tiny. They reduce in size, in fact, even get smaller than this when it's made as a shohin, very dense. With that then, I will just now take them out of the pot and put them into the pot to make part of the bonsai. So the rock actually was not very sturdy, so I have to firm it up by putting soil in the bottom so that it will stay put. And I didn't bother with any anchoring because I expect to keep it vertical all the time. But if you are going to move it sideways, then you have better anchor the tree. So I'm just firming up the rock so that it doesn't fall apart. And then I put the tree in the rock. Behind the rock. So this would be my equivalent of this tree. And I tilt it to make it a little bit more interesting rather than a straight tree in the wilderness. And then there's plenty of room to shape it. For example, I'll cut this off, make the vertical here, and then this branch going out, and to simulate this one here. And again, the soil mix is not that big a deal. It's my standard 1 part sandy loam, 1 part peat moss, and 1 part perlite. Elm tree tend to thrive in that because they are very easy tree. In fact, I think this could be the nice apex coming out this way or that one. And the same thing with this one. I'll take it out of the pot. See, not much roots. See, it's done. It's really quick. Bonsai doesn't have to take a lot of time like some of the video portrays. You can see the screen to line the bottom for root pruning because elm roots can tend to be quite aggressive to wind around the bottom of the pot. The positioning initially is not that critical because as the tree grows, you can shape the direction it grew into to get the design you want. So the main thing is to get the basic concept done with the end in mind, what you want it to be. I can imagine looking at this angle, this tree grows out and comes up like that. And so in fact, what I'll do is just clip it right here. Then this will be, well, that's a little too high. Maybe I'll clip it over here. So this will become the apex coming up, and then this will be coming down. And so you can see this tree will be growing like this and coming down like that. I'm not in a great hurry. I can easily wire or pull this one over to cover that hole. But that way the beginning of the tree doesn't look like much, but a few years from now, it will be fine. And the same thing on this one, I probably like it closer to the rock. So in fact, I'll push it back in, even though it's outside, away from the rock. I can fill in the detail later or fill in the soil later. And so the tree will be like growing out of the rock, not quite, but next to the rock. I don't need to worry that much about it at this point, but probably this height, this probably doesn't need it. So it doesn't look like much now, but I will show you what the tree looks like 6 months from now, and then a year from now, and 2 years from now, to follow the tree you're beginning to see the shape of that tree. It doesn't look anything like that now, but trust me, it will. Now, one other finishing step, which I encourage to see the video, that's called Tips and Tricks on Making Moss, Putting Moss on Your Bonsai. That's got a lot of interesting information. What I'll do is I spray the moss over this so that the whole thing will be green, a green mountain growing out of a meadow with the trees hugging it. I think that would be beautiful in a 5 to 10 year time frame. So now if you look at these two trees, looks nothing at all like this. But again, in 5 to 10 years, it looks nice. This tree looks, well, it's a bigger rock and slightly taller trees, but really doesn't look much different from that 20 years ago, 15, 25 years ago. I don't really remember, probably 17 years ago. That's what this tree will potentially likely to become, and much smaller, which is easier to use, easier to move. This tree is down near 150 to 200 pounds because this piece of rock alone is about 100 pounds or 75 pounds. So yeah, please subscribe to our channel because then we can keep you advised of a new video that can be quite informative. So for example, the next video I will do is this bonsai, which is to finish it for a show. So I'll talk about styling and finishing. Thank you.